Welcome, survivor. Enjoy the view. You see before you the pinnacle of mankind's ingenuity. All of humanity's hopes and dreams carefully nestled within this lifeboat. Each of its shining rings are laden with miracles of science and nature. A paradise where the boundary between the biological and technological has been all but erased. And now all of it is mine. I control this vessel now. I command its evolution, and very soon, its destination. From there, my will shall spread across the cosmos forever, infinite and undying. And there's nothing you or that witless puppet, that shadow of her, can do to stop me. I have already set my designs in motion. Our future awaits, survivor.
Hey guys, it's Holly and welcome on back to my channel. Now, yesterday during Survive the Arks live stream, they gave off a whole heap of information as to what is coming to Gen 2. Now, you guys did just see the trailer. I'm super excited to be sharing all of this with you and going through and looking at everything they showed during the live stream, just in case you missed it. Now, I am going to do it a little bit differently than how they streamed it yesterday. I think what we're going to do is, first off, we're going to look at the Ark itself and all of its biomes. Then we are going to go into the creatures, and then later on we're going to check out the gear and the items and things like that they are also adding to the game. I will leave timestamps in the comment section below if you guys were interested in just checking out a certain creature or something like that. You're going to be able to skip straight to it. But without any further ado, let's just jump straight in with looking at the ship itself. Let's have a look at this base. Oh my goodness, it's not a base. I'm sorry. It's the Ark. I'm so confused, but so intrigued by this in the same breath. How they managed to make essentially a massive spaceship, the Ark. My brain hurts. Like, I don't know how to make sense of that. Like, it's kind of confusing, but this is the Ark essentially. This is where we are going to be living. Instead of living on a planet like we are so used to, we live inside this ship. The ship is said to be kilometers long. Now, they also believe that Genesis 2 is going to be Ark's biggest map, which is pretty darn exciting, especially when you consider that it is all going to be done within this spaceship. Now, they didn't give us a lot of details. They did say, though, if we were to put a T-Rex onto that ship and look at it at the view distance we are currently at, it would literally only be 1 pixel. So just to give you a perspective as to how large this is, they also said that you essentially live in sections of the rings. So in the center there, you can see a big ring section. So I don't actually know if that is the Ark in there. And another thing that they did mention was that in Gen 1, a lot of players were upset by the fact that they couldn't build anywhere near missions. So in this one, the way that they have it is the missions take you out of, I guess, like the player zone. So from what I can tell, it sounds almost like you are going to be teleported out of the ship or into another area in the ship if you choose to do the missions, and then that way no one has to worry about having places where they're not allowed to build and things like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how this looks. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, now let's check out some biomes that you can expect to see in this ship. So here we have the first biome concept. Now they refer to this area as the Eden Zone, and that it has a lot of similarities with Ragnarok. They also reiterate that it is going to be Ark's largest map, and from what I can gather, it is all open world. So we are going to be able to fly. Yes, fly. They did not disable flyers in Genesis 2. We are going to be able to fly from this zone into potentially another zone, so that's kind of cool. This area has been said to be like a starter area, so we're gonna see spawns of dinos from, say, Dodo all the way up until Rex, and because it is the Eden Zone, you are going to be able to get fairly well anything that you need resource wise in this area. So we should be seeing obviously like stone, metal, wood, all that jazz. I think it looks like a very pretty area. I get a Zelda vibe from this. I don't know. Do you guys as well? Do you get Zelda vibes? When I look at this, I don't know why. It doesn't look like Ark to me for some reason. But I think this area is gonna definitely be cool. I am extremely interested in checking it out. So next up, we have another biome concept. So let's check that one out now. So this is essentially the center of the ship, or the interior of the ship, should I say. It sounds like, from what I can gather, is below we have Eden off to, I'm not too sure what side, but I just say hypothetically, off to the side we have, on the right, we have Eden, and then you cross this sort of trench, and then on the left we may also have more Eden. I'm not 100% sure because they weren't really specific in what they were saying when they described this area, but they did say it was like basically the next step up from Eden. So it's not going to be a really hard spawn point, but it is going to be more difficult than the last one we looked at. Now, they did also refer to this one a lot as the tech trench. So it is obviously going to have some dinos in there that are a little bit stronger. It also sounds like there is a river or some sort of lake that runs along the bottom of this trench. I'm really, really curious to see, because I don't know about you guys, but when I hear the word trench, I automatically think of wyverns. So I don't know if this is going to be where we will see wyverns. I don't honestly know. In the pictures that we are shown, we can only sort of see some birds, which I can assume must be either RGs or maybe they could also be vultures. I'm not 100% sure. You don't see a lot of wildlife on these shots though. And there is also said to be 2 of these. So there are, from what I can gather, there are rings where the biomes are, and there are 2 trenches that you have to cross in order to get to other zones. So definitely interested to check this all out. I'm assuming with them calling it a tech trench, we're probably going to find a lot of tech dinos and robots and things like that. Now, something else I just want to touch on quickly as well. We're going to go back to the trailer, and I just want to show you guys this. Now, I know already in Genesis, well, not in Genesis, should I say, in Ark in general, that we have the ability to make mechs. Now, I haven't been playing Ark for the longest time. I have a few hours in it, but I can honestly say I've never made a mech. Now, looking at these guys here, It looks like they're actually carrying containers. Now, correct me if I am wrong, but I don't believe that is something that we have seen in the game before. I feel like that is also something new that is coming out, but I could also just be new to this and I haven't seen something like this before, so let me know in the comment section below. Do we already have containers like this that the mechs carry around? Because I honestly, I don't know. Alright, next up, we are going into another biome concept. This one reminds me a little bit more of Aberration. It is said to be quite a dangerous area. The way they best described it was actually that it was beauty amongst the chaos. So we can expect to see a very vibrant, a very pretty area in this one. This is actually referred to as Rockwell's Garden. Now, from the sounds of it, it was originally a part of Eden, and then I'm guessing when Rockwell kind of did his thing that it got contaminated with element or something like that. Now, if you do have a look at the image there, it does almost look like there could be an element river in the center there, or kind of around the edging, I guess. And over right at the back, if you look at the back right, there are also, I know I did this in the last one, and I know I said it could be a trench, but there could also be a trench here. If you look right at the back there are the unmistakable trench pillars, the kind of hexagon looking shapes right at the back there. So, I mean, if we didn't have wyverns in the last area, we might have wyverns in this area. Why I keep saying wyverns, I don't know. I don't even know if they're on this map, if I'm being completely honest. I'm just purely speculating. This area was also said to have the rare resources. So I'm guessing, like I said, this is where we're going to get element from. We're probably going to get element ore, maybe like obsidian and metal and things like that as well. But I think this area is going to be absolutely gorgeous. They did say that this is going to be a heavy challenge environment. So by that, I'm thinking this may be like a radiated zone as well, or it could have like your freezing or extremely hot temperatures. I'm not 100% sure. They didn't elaborate too much on this area. We do see some cool dinos that I believe are going to live in this area a little bit later on, but we have one more biome to look at just quickly, and this one is by far, in my opinion, the most disturbing. They refer to this one as Rockwell's innards, which is kind of disturbing in itself. It's kind of gross. So I'm anticipating that this area is going to be obviously quite damp, quite swamp-like, I guess. It doesn't look very appealing at all. It does sound like this could potentially be the center of the ship. They do say that this is basically the center of the corruption, and that Rockwell is becoming the ship. So I think this is part of him. You also can see there are some eyes, which is in itself extremely weird. I don't know if they are maybe like spy cameras, so Rockwell knows that you were cruising around inside of his stomach potentially. I don't know. They don't tell us much about this area, what we can expect to find, what it's like. But I would think if it was the inside of someone's intestines or stomach or something like that, I would assume there would be some sort of gas, or I don't know, there would be something in here that could potentially be toxic. And like I said, with those eyes, I feel like they have a strong meaning. So maybe it might have something to do with the little creature that we are going to look at now. This guy is so freaking adorable. I can't wait to get my hands on him, but it sounds like he's going to be kind of dangerous, and I think that he may actually live in this biome, so it's going to be interesting to see how easy this guy is to get, because I'm fairly certain this biome here is like an end game biome. So next up we have the Noglin. This guy is so extremely cute, but he is going to be deadly from what I can tell. He is a shoulder pet, which is pretty darn cool. You can keep this little guy on your shoulder and take him around with you. It is not like the Ferox. They said that it is not a transformative dino, so he is going to be always the size of a shoulder pet. Now, they didn't tell us whether or not it was going to be breedable. Obviously, this is just a sneak peek, so the information they have shared was limited, but something that they did say is that when this guy attacks you, he grabs you with his tongue and his mouth, and he can actually do a little bit of mind control. Now, when they say the ability to catch you, I instantly think of like a bog spider. You know how when they sling out their web and they drain you full of blood to be able to tame you? Tame them even. I feel like this guy is going to be somewhat similar to that in the taming method, but they did go on to say that you may need to sacrifice something to him. So whether or not that is like a Troodon, you feed them your Gigas or your T-Rexes, it could be something like that. This guy does mind control on both tames and players. So they basically said he could control, say you've got a Giga that you've had for the last 3 years, you're absolutely in love with him, and then one of these little guys gets hold of him. There is potential for this guy to make whatever tame it is not be friendly anymore. And he can also do that to tribe mates. Yes, you heard me right. He can mind control your tribe mates. So, oh my goodness, in PvP, I can't even begin to imagine how much of a game changer this guy is going to be. Say you're attacking someone's base, they manage to latch one of these little guys onto your Giga, and you know what, it's game over. Or maybe they even get him onto one of your tribe mates, and your tribe mate turns on you and kills you. I don't know. It's definitely going to be an interesting guy to watch out for. They said he should be very feared. Oh my goodness, so cute, but so deadly. Next up, we have the Shadow Mane. This one here would have to be probably the one that I am most excited about. Oh my goodness. Other than the fact that it looks absolutely beautiful, this guy has a lot of cool features. So they said that it is a very good hunter, so I feel like it's going to get a lot of meat, somewhat similar to a saber. The female has a cloaking ability, obviously somewhat similar to a rock drake, but something that was interesting is that it sounds like the female is actually going to be able to transfer that cloak ability to other dinos that are nearby. So if you had one of these guys in like a raiding party, you could potentially cloak the entire raiding party. We will have to see, obviously, moving forward, how that is actually going to work. Now, the males are going to have a more predominant mane, and it's especially interesting to note that the males and the females have different abilities. So while the female is able to go invisible and also transfer that to other dinos around her, the male is going to have a roar which is similar to, I guess, a Yudi, and it is going to be like a courage roar. So, I mean, if you have a mating or a mate boosted pair of these, and one of them's making everything invisible and the other one is giving them all courage, oh my goodness. They also have a dash ability which helps them target multiple dinos at once, and it's said to be more of an assassin dino. And once again, very agile, very fast. I'm really looking forward to this guy. They did say it is going to be breedable. Now, looking at it, and because it is, I guess, like a mutated creature, I'm assuming, I'm gonna throw this one out there now. Although it looks like a mammal, I feel like this is going to be an egg layer. I feel like this is going to be something similar to the rock drake, where we have to try and go snag eggs for this. Now, I could be extremely wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Is this going to be an egg layer, or is it going to be a mammal? And obviously, looking at the screenshots and the colors of this dino and everything like that, this guy is probably going to live in Rockwell's garden, which is kind of like that aberration zone. Now, I'm gonna move along from this guy. I am so extremely hyped about it, and I could ramble for literal hours, but I can see this video is actually already getting on the long side, and we're not even halfway through. So we gotta keep moving. Next up, we are going to be looking at the Strider. This guy, oh my word. I'm actually excited for a few of these dinos. This Strider actually has a harvesting attachment on its face. Now, going by what has been said, it sounds like you can get different attachments for different resources. But I don't think we are going to be able to make those attachments to put on it. I feel like it is a wild spawn that you just gotta kind of get lucky to find. So basically, there might be one that has an attachment that's good at harvesting wood. There might be one that has an attachment that's good at harvesting stone. Another that's good at harvesting metal. It doesn't sound like they are like transferable attachments. It sounds like it's the way that the dino is found in the wild. It does have a tech bed already installed, ready to go, which, oh my goodness, early game, heck yeah, those tech beds are amazing. You literally just go to sleep in them and you level up while you sleep. That is awesome. And not only that, you are going to be able to fast travel or respawn at this guy. He does also have a buildable platform saddle. So if you wanted to go like nomad style and not have an actual base, you could build a base on the back of one of these guys and just cruise around everywhere. I think they are going to be quite large. As you see in the trailer here, he literally nearly steps on raptors, so they are definitely going to be a large dino. Looking back at that, I actually see they're compies. They're not raptors. That was my bad. This guy also, I just double checked and went over all my notes and everything like that. I missed a few things. So he actually has a portable transmitter already pre-equipped on him as well. So I'm guessing that's going to be like an obelisk or a supply drop where we can upload and download dinos from. To tame this guy, it is going to be a lot different to what we are used to. This guy, you are going to need to hack into its systems. I have no idea how this is going to work, but basically this guy is like a big robot and you need to hack into it in order to be able to take it over and tame it. But warning, it will set off a siren. Yeah, it's gonna be like an alarm system. So players that are nearby are going to know that you're trying to hack this guy. So on PvP, gonna be very interesting. They're saying that it's a competitive tame. So basically, if you're trying to tame one of these and it lets out a warning and there's another tribe nearby, they can potentially come over and steal that tame from you. I'm assuming that this guy is also going to have good weight because it is a harvest dino. They're saying that depending on the configuration of this guy, it could potentially take the place of multiple dinos. So they said like from 3 to 10 dinos. This one guy could take the place of them all. But it does depend on its configuration. It also has back and chest plates. But from what I understand, it sounds like they might already be on the dino when you tame it. I don't know if you're actually able to make them. And I was also thinking, because it's got the harvest attachments, I wonder if it's actually got some sort of laser turret, like something that you would be able to use it in combat with rather than just a harvest dino. So, very interesting tame, this guy. I'm super excited to see it, but we shall see how we go. Next up, we have the biome-specific dinos. Now, these are basically just color reskins of dinos that we are already used to on the Arks. They only show us the Equus, the Dillu, and of course, oh my goodness, that Reaper Queen. They look amazing. They look absolutely amazing. Now, these are just skin color variants though, so nothing new here per se. The taming methods and everything like that are obviously going to be what we are already used to. It is just the different skins. I think they look really cool. I know on Genesis 1, I got right into breeding the butterfly tappies because I just absolutely loved the pattern. But yeah, gonna be interesting to see all the different colors and patterns and everything like that that we can expect in Genesis 2. Alright, moving along. Now, this item is something we are actually going to spawn in with. We will all be starting the journey of Genesis 2 with tech suits. Now, they said that the map was created in mind that tech suits would be used. This guy, it looks really cool, but I don't know a lot about it. So they said it can be used as a suit. So I'm assuming that we have the ability to fly and things like that with our new tech suit. They didn't say whether or not it was going to need fuel, like such as gasoline or element or anything like that to power it. But if you already have a really good tech suit and you want to bring that with you, you can use this as a skin on your already existing tech suit. So I'm kind of curious to see how that works. It's going to double as both a tech suit and a skin. Definitely very cool looking. I assume that we are going to be able to paint these and make them customized to our character. But yeah, just something extremely interesting. We're all starting with tech suit. So I don't think they're gonna be very good though. So armor wise and things like that, they are probably going to have relatively poor durability or not be very good for insulation and stuff like that. But we are all definitely starting with a tech suit, which is very interesting indeed. Now, I realized when I went to do the tech suit, I actually missed out. I missed out a tame. And I'm really sorry about that. So we are actually going to go back to creatures. I don't know how I missed this guy, but this is the Astrodelphus. So very similar to the... I can't remember what its name was. What was it? Astrocetus, I think, which is the space whale. We now have a space dolphin. I'm not sure how big it's going to be because it is a dolphin instead of a whale. But man, this guy looks really cool. Now, not only are they saying that it is very maneuverable, it sounds like it does some sort of barrel roll through the air. They're saying that it is basically a counter for the Troppo, which, as you guys all know or may know by now, has the jet powered saddle. This guy also deals with jet propulsion. It also was really tricky to hear this part. I don't know if their microphones got turned off or down really low, but from what I could hear, this guy is a very good fighter that has cannons up the front. They didn't say much about the saddle itself. I'm assuming that it must be buildable in some way. If this guy has multiple flight modes. It also has lasers and bombs and things like that you can attach to it. So, I mean, this guy sounds like he's going to be pretty cool. As for biome, as to where we are going to find this, they did hint that there may actually be a little bit of a biome outside of the ship. So we may actually be looking for this guy outside of the ship in a potential lunar biome. I'm not 100% sure, though. We will have to see as more information comes out about this guy. And the only other thing worthy of mention was that they said there would be 25 players allowed on the saddle. Now, they all had a bit of a laugh about this, so I'm assuming that this is not true. But this guy may actually have multiple passenger seats. So that's going to be pretty darn cool. Definitely a cool dino to be cruising around with, especially if it can dodge and roll and everything like that. It's also got the jet propulsion to make it a little bit faster in the air. This guy should be pretty cool. But speaking of maneuverability, the next thing that I would like to touch base on is the hover sail. Oh my goodness, this thing looks really cool. I feel like I've said that about every item I have reviewed so far. But yeah, I'm sorry guys. I am extremely hyped for Gen 2 and what it has to offer. Now, the hover sail is basically like a portable skateboard wind sail kind of thing. So basically it shrinks down so you can have it in your inventory and then you can just pull it out when you need, kind of similar to, I guess, like a raft or something like that. You keep it in your inventory, then when you want to use it, you can bring it out. It is also hotbar equipable though, so that's kind of cool. You could literally just have it like in your one slot, and when you need to use it, you just click one and it'll deploy. With that said, you can also pack it away into your inventory, but if you leave it out, it isn't going to disappear. Now, they said that it was very maneuverable and very fast. There is going to be a little bit of a learning curve as to how to use it, how wide it'll turn, and things like that, how bigger gaps we can fit through, and all that jazz. But it does seem like it's going to be pretty darn cool. Now, if you manage to drift with this guy or do like a special trick or something like that, it is actually going to give you a movement boost. So that's pretty darn amazing. I don't think that we need any kind of fuel or element or anything like that to use this. I'm fairly certain it is just via wind. Now, it is important to note it is a hover sail. So it will only hover just above the ground, but to make it fly, it sounds like if you jump, then it will take off. They also do mention that if you're overweight, it is going to help you get home quicker. So it doesn't seem like it's going to have a weight restriction, and if it does, it's probably got pretty decent weight. In that last shot there too, you can also see there are actually 2 players on this. So the person up the front of the hover sail is actually going to be able to equip like a shotgun or a crossbow or something like that as well. So this could potentially be something that you use to either go kill creatures with or tame creatures with, or just go out exploring with one of your tribe mates. But it looks pretty darn cool. I'm excited to see how this works. I did do terribly bad with learning how to use the bog spider, but apparently the learning curve on this one is nowhere near as harsh, so fingers crossed I managed to learn this one a little bit easier. Next up, we are actually going to look at an egg incubator. I know so many of you have been waiting for this, especially if you play on official servers. This thing is going to make your life so much easier. Now, they didn't specify the capacity as to how many eggs you were going to be able to keep in here, but they did say it's going to hold all egg types. So if you got giga eggs, if you've got dodo eggs, it sounds like they can all go in here. Now, one thing that I found really quite interesting is each and every egg has a different ideal incubation temperature. You know how we're like running around trying to hatch wyvern eggs with like a gazillion fires? Well, this thing is actually going to have some sort of thermostat temperature control that you would actually be able to set this to the ideal temperature of the egg, and it is going to help them incubate quicker from what I understand. Also, it's said to have like a stats feature. So I'm assuming you're going to be able to hover over top of the egg. I have seen mods like this. I'm assuming you're going to be able to hover over the egg, and it is going to tell you probably who the mum and dad were. So like Giga 1 and Giga 2 were the parents of this egg. The color that it is going to be. I'm not sure if it's going to tell you the level in which the baby is going to hatch out. That's going to be really quite interesting. And the same as its gender. I'm not too sure if we're going to know what the baby is going to be, whether it is going to be a male or a female. But they did say basically you're going to be able to see whether or not you're going to want to hatch it. So I guess it is probably going to let you know all the points in each stat. I assume so. Now, they did also say that it works powered, but it also works unpowered. So I'm assuming that it will look after your eggs if it's unpowered, but you will not be able to set the temperature gauge for it if it's unpowered. I assume something like that because it works both ways. And it also said that the eggs will be safe in here until you decide whether or not you're going to hatch them or eat them. So whether or not this gives the eggs a longer expiry date or if they just live in there forever, I'm honestly not sure right now. But definitely something pretty exciting to check out. Next up, we are actually going to move into, I guess, kind of more armor and weapons. So next up, we actually have the tech bow. Oh my goodness, you guys. This thing is freaking so cool. So extremely cool. Now, if you have ever watched me play Ark before, you will know that it is on the very rare occasion that I will actually be seen with a gun of any sort. I generally run around with a crossbow majority of the time. So for me, This tech bow is so extremely exciting. Now, it is powered by element, so you will definitely need element to use it, but it doesn't sound like it needs any actual ammunition. It doesn't sound like we are going to need to make, say, metal arrows for this guy. Instead, the way that they've got it implemented is via a click of a button. I don't know how it's going to work, but via a click of a button, we are going to be able to change our ammo type with this thing. So some examples they gave were like explosive arrows, trank arrows, metal, flame arrows, and it sounds like we can literally switch between one at a time sort of thing, if that makes any sense at all. So maybe you see another player and you fire off like 3 trank arrows at him to knock him out, and then you follow it up by a flame thrower arrow to like set them on fire. And basically the way that that ammo will work is it is going to cost more element. So say for like an explosive arrow, it might maybe cost you 2 element to fire off one of those arrows, whereas something like a trank arrow might only cost 1 element or something like that, or there's going to be some sort of charge percentage on this which you use when you go through those arrows. I just thought that is really, really cool, and the fact that we don't have to run around and make different ammo types for it, oh my goodness, heck yeah, I cannot wait for this. Now also, if you pull back the string and let it do, I guess, like a full charge of the bow, it's also meant to be more like a railgun or like a turret or something. It's very accurate and does a lot of damage. So definitely keep your eyes open for this guy. It looks like it's gonna be a pretty awesome bow. You will definitely see me running around with one of these once Gen 2 is out and I'm able to get my grubby little fingers on it. Now I guess this one's kind of got something to do with armor and things as well. Next up, we are going to be looking at a mannequin. So this is a loadout mannequin. I guess there's not really a lot to say about this guy. Basically, it is going to be a mannequin in which we can put our armors and things like that on. So say if, I don't know, you only ever use your tech suit when you're going to go tame stuff, or I don't really know. The way they explained it was like it was a loadout suit. So you could basically walk up to it and you could get everything off of it and just go out with it. But personally, I am a PvE player, so most players I come across generally use the same armor. So if they've got some really good armor, they just use that everywhere they go. So basically the way I see this getting used in my community is I feel like this is gonna be a decoration piece. This is gonna be where we keep all our awesome armor skins and different items. Like I'm actually really excited for that. I want to have a little mannequin that has my little Valentine's Day outfit on it and my little Easter outfit and my summer bash. I'm excited for this, but more as like a decoration. It does seem like you can literally just one click and completely equip yourself with everything that is on the mannequin. So rather than having to like transfer over the hat and the shirt and the pants, etc., seems like it's going to be a pretty straightforward one click kind of setup where you can just literally just strip yourself naked, throw all of this on, and then I assume whatever you have on goes back onto the mannequin. But yeah, not a lot to say about this one. Like I said, it is going to be a mannequin after all. Alright, so moving along, we have an ammo box. Oh my goodness. I see so many PvPers Some being really excited for this, some being really mad about this. So this is an ammo box, which essentially is going to store every type of ammo you need, whether it be ballistas or turrets or element or bullets, whatever you need. This is going to be able to store it, and it is automatically going to refill your turrets. So, PvP players, if you're used to taking your dinos in that have a lot of health just to soak up bullets, be prepared that the bullets could potentially be an infinite number depending on how many of these ammo boxes you have stored around. I do not know how stackable they are. Like if there's going to be, you could only have one of these in an area, or if you could literally just fill an area with like 20 of these things and have them full of every type of ammunition that you're ever going to need, and your turrets are just basically never going to turn off as long as you have the resources to remake the ammo. For me, I don't see myself using it a lot. Like I said, I am a PvE player, but definitely very cool, very interesting. Like I said, I feel like there is going to be a mixed response for this one. Next up, we have a remote camera security system. Now, this one's quite interesting. I don't know what you're going to use it for a lot of the time. So basically, you can go back to the control panel and you can control these cameras. Now, they did say it was kind of like you could put one at your door, so then you can see if someone's at your door. If you're maybe role-playing in a game, you can use it like a doorbell. I see this being used a lot more probably as to kind of see what is going on outside. So if you hear attack or something like that going on outside of your base walls, you are going to be able to go to this control station, control your cameras, see what is going on outside, whether or not that is another tribe is attacking you, or maybe there is like a rogue alpha cano cruising around who's like chomping on your fence line. I don't know, pretty cool concept. I'm really interested to see like its functionality and how I would use it. But yeah, definitely another interesting thing to look at. Now, this one, I don't know how to feel about this one. We have a canoe. Which, I mean, I'm mixed about this one. Only for the fact, like, it's a canoe. Like, it's literally a canoe. Everything else they have shown us has been so damn cool and very techy, and then they throw in a canoe, of all things. But I mean, I guess early game, not everyone is going to be playing on Genesis 2. There will be still a lot of players that are over on the island, or maybe they're just getting into Ark. So this guy is obviously equipable. You can pick it back up and put it back into your inventory after you unequip it. So basically, if you put it in the water, you row somewhere, and then you're going exploring, you'd be able to put this guy back into your inventory and reuse it. So that is kind of handy as far as like in comparison to a raft. I'm also assuming that the resources that you need in order to be able to make this guy are going to be a lot cheaper than what you do a raft. Now, someone did ask if it had a storage capacity. It was shut down at first, and then another one of the development team sort of said, we will see how that works. So there may be some sort of storage on this guy. You're not going to be able to place items on it, though, I don't believe, like a sleeping bag or anything like that. But it may have limited storage, so you can maybe pop one or two things in there with you. It does also sound like it is going to be something that may attract leads. So just be mindful of that. If you're taking it out into the middle of the ocean, be mindful of the fact that you may still get attacked by whales. They weren't really clear on that. It kind of sounded like, yes, they would attract whales, and then it was almost like, no, they wouldn't attract whales. Next up, we have the tech crop plot. So it is said to have the same sizes and dimensions as a regular crop plot. So I'm assuming that it's probably a large, because we have small, medium, and large, but I'm fairly certain that those plants only grow in large ones. So I don't know 100% there if we are going to have different size options in the tech variant. Basically, this thing just does everything that a normal crop plot does, but better. So your plants are going to grow faster. It has a larger storage capacity, so you can fill it full of fertilizer if you choose, and like go AFK for the week or whatever. Your plant is still going to have more fertilizer. It is also going to have more storage room for your veggies to like reproduce and have crops and things stored away. It also takes in more water. So I'm guessing if you don't have an irrigation network set up, you are going to be able to fill this, I guess, with like flasks or whatever. And you're going to be able to fill this a lot more. So it's more irrigated than, I guess, a normal wooden one. I haven't really met any players that do it like that. Most players have a water source that they use, but it is handy to know. So yeah, I mean, it's a tech crop plot. I'm guessing it's going to have better durability. It's obviously got the higher storage capacity, and yeah, just all round it's going to be better to use if you're building the crops or making the crops. It just all round is gonna be better. You're gonna want to jump onto this guy. Now next up we have a minigun. Now, this guy, I feel like, is going to be really quite OP. So, there are two ways you can use this thing. So, you can basically walk around carrying it and hip fire, which obviously isn't going to be very accurate, but you can use it like that if you choose to. But the way that I see this probably being used the most is you can actually deploy it. It has its own little tripod stand that it stands on, and you essentially become the minigun and control it with some sort of joystick or mini game. I'm not really too sure how that will work. They're saying that it is a very fast and powerful. Definitely a heavy hitter. It is going to be mostly useful for doing caves and also doing bosses. Now, they did say that up against the bosses, it was going to be kind of hard to not pass the boss easily, basically, with it shooting out lasers and bullets. So I don't know if that was a slip up and this thing is actually going to also shoot lasers, or if basically he was saying the stream of bullets, because it fires them so fast, it will look like a stream of lasers when it's only bullets. I'm not sure there, but also, it will overheat, so it is going to kind of be a little bit like the tech rifle. If you use it too much constantly, it will eventually overheat, but all in all, I see this thing being extremely helpful. Yeah, I'm excited to get in and give it a go and see what it is like when you deploy it and throw it out onto its little tripod stand. It's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Next, but well, actually, you know what? Finally, we are at the last one. Oh my goodness. If you guys have made it all the way to the end of the video, I appreciate you. I really, really do. I know that this has been another long one. I'm bad for making long videos, but you know, we got through all the information and it was a 24-hour stream, so there was a lot to go through and unpack, and I tried to get my facts right as much as possible. So next up, we actually have a tech pistol. All right, let's check this guy out. So this thing has a multiple functionality. It has a laser slash phaser beam with 3 modes. So it does damage, healing, and a stun mode, which is really quite interesting. Now, these modes are also stackable. So if you have multiple players there and you are all using the tech pistol, multiple stacks would be available for like healing or for like stunning, whatever it is. I don't know, other than PvP, I don't really know what you would want to stun things for. Whether or not if it gets to a certain stun, it becomes almost like a torpor. I don't actually know. But the fact that you can have multiple players all trying to heal something at the same time, that's going to be pretty handy, especially in boss fights or if you're in a very dangerous area. Now, the ammunition for this is element, as we can kind of guess. It looks pretty darn cool. Yeah, interesting to see everything, like how this is going to be used. Now, I did say that they were stackable, but they're also only stackable to a certain degree. So it may be something like it is stackable by 3 people at the same time, and then if you come over and you try to heal as well, your heal won't work, or something like that. They said it is stackable, but only to a certain degree. But oh my goodness gracious me, I'm fairly certain we have gone through all of the Genesis 2 reveals. I can hardly wait. Like, I am super excited for Genesis 2 in March of next year. Now, unfortunately, with these things, with development and things like that, sometimes, you know, things don't come out when they plan on release dates, but fingers crossed we do see this come out in March of next year. But I think I'm done for today, guys. I think you have all listened to me ramble for long enough, so thank you all so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. You have a fantastic rest of your day. That is me done for now. Alright, thanks guys. Bye.
Lifeboat. Each of its shining rings are laden with miracles of science and nature. A paradise where the boundary between the biological and technological has been all but erased. And now all of it is mine. I control this vessel now. I command its evolution. And very soon, its destination. From there, my will shall spread across the cosmos forever, infinite and undying. And there's nothing you or that witless puppet, that shadow of her, can do to stop me. I have already set my designs in motion. Our future awaits, Survivor.